Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Living Without Illusion, a lesson on expectation and reality, Acharya Prashant. So, this was a pretty interesting one. How to live without delusion. Strangely enough, I'll say a lot of people do live in an illusion. It's just the fact that they don't know it. And it's kind of what he's saying, expectation versus reality. The illusion is what you expect versus the reality of what you get. And most of the time, reality is very disappointing. And this is the reason why I preach understanding. Essentially, it's understanding reality, understanding what to expect. When you can understand that, hopefully you won't be so disillusioned in life. You won't expect the unexpected and be disappointed. So hopefully you don't expect you're expecting 20, but you only receive 10, and obviously you'd be disappointed not having the double the amount that you wanted. But if you expect reality, then maybe you don't get as much as you want, but you can understand why. So it's still dealing with a little bit of both. Obviously, the expectation versus reality. Obviously, it's better not to have expectation. To a certain degree, of course. There's a level of expectation to everything, like when you get to your car or when you use your keys to unlock your door, you expect it to open your door. There's a certain level of expectations everywhere, but being realistic or being try to use the word reality into that, but understand the reality of it. Understanding that makes a huge difference. Anyways, let's go and get started.
God man made in his own image. No, the chimpanzees made us in their own image, obviously. A Krishna or a Kabir is an impossibility. Improbable to the extent I am calling him improbable. Impossible. Probability tending to zero. But we say, oh, I'm so surprised that fellow tried to fob me off. You should be surprised when somebody does not try to cheat. And if you have too many people in your life who you think are good, then you are heading towards disaster, because very soon you will be shocked. Those who have known man and life have said the world is a cage, the world is suffering. And then there are the positive types who keep saying, oh, life is bliss, life is benediction. Then surely Gautam the Buddha was a fool when he said sarvam dukham, life is suffering. If people are born free and great, then surely all the sages were idiots when they said life is bondage. Anybody who has not paid respect, genuine respect, to self-knowledge does not deserve your respect. And if you will offer respect to such a person, be ready for surprises. Very nasty surprises.
I mean, that is quite harsh of Acharya Prashant here. I mean, can life be bliss? It can be, but it's not to say that it starts off that way. Obviously, I would assume Gautama Buddha, once you achieve, I believe, nirvana or moksha, that life has become bliss. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still suffering, but it's also bliss, which is counterintuitive. But the body suffers, absolutely, but you are living in this world in bliss. I mean, and if you look at it in terms of Advaita Vedanta, you are already that which is bliss. Again, bliss is, to me, is such a very strong word, meaning extreme pleasure, but I don't know the genuine definition of it. That's how I've always heard bliss. I never bothered to look up the definition because obviously you pick up words as you grow older and you get the definition based on how they're used. But obviously I've not looked up every single word I've ever heard, and bliss is one of them. But it's always used in the sense of extreme pleasure. So I don't think of bliss as, in terms of Advaita Vedanta, as extreme pleasure, but contentment. So it's definitely a different, at least for me, that's how I believe it to be. Because Sadhguru sits there and he says, I'm in bliss. He looks at it in terms of pleasure, like he's in a good mood, not necessarily dealing with anything sexual. Swami Sarvapriyananda says that we are that which is bliss, or not that which is bliss, but we are essentially eternal bliss. I think Swami Tadatmananda as well says that, but we are that of bliss, essentially. Sat Chit Ananda, I believe is what Swami Sarvapriyananda says. Um, and Ananda, I believe, is translated to be bliss. That's the reason why you have Swami Sarvapri Ananda. At least as far as I understand. I could be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments below. But as far as I remember, Ananda is bliss, I believe. And this I pulled it from Swami Sarvapri Ananda because he kind of breaks it down a little bit. Chit Ananda. I'm sorry, I can't remember precisely, but I have the idea.
Namaste, Acharya ji.
Welcome.
Acharya ji, my question is a bit related to the personal struggle. And basically, let's say if we take today's context, there are so many disturbing events on many aspects, right? So very recently, Facebook founder said something around fact removal of fact checkings that created a whole host of opinions. Then we know the Elon Musk and Trump are going to really accelerate the climate change. Last time we talked about Gisele Pellico's case, which was very heinous, and she finally won, so which is good. Also, I was going through some other news which were very, very disturbing, and
Hold on, I'm gonna rewind that. Sorry, I gotta hear that portion and kind of give my opinion on that.
created a whole on many aspects, right? Personal struggle. And basically, let's say if we take today's context, there are so many disturbing events on many aspects, right? So very recently, Facebook founder said something around fact removal of fact checkings that created a whole host of opinions.
Okay, so for me, there is a problem with fact checkers. I mean, who's fact checking? Humans. Are humans perfect? No. And don't get me wrong, like I am not about like fake news and all of that. But this is kind of the problem though. I've always seemed to notice this. It's very odd that people do not wish to fact check anything. They want other people to do that and tell them that this is right or wrong. Don't get me wrong, there's a like ever since the inception of the internet, I believe people say don't believe in what you or actually these are the TV too. Says don't believe what you see on the internet. That's always been said. And oh, they always say, and even in school they teach you to always double check, always fact check things. What has happened to that? It's gone. People want some kind of government agency telling them what to believe, and that's kind of the problem with fact checkers. They're essentially police on Meta. And if they don't, and these fact checkers are human beings, so they can literally say, "Oh, even though that's true, I don't like it because the verbiage is slightly wrong, so it's going to be false and deleted." And this is kind of like a police on language. It's very true. And does that suck to some degree? Yes, because then people can say anything they want on the internet. Absolutely. But this is where we as individual beings must take responsibility for what we believe and what we trust on the internet. You know, it's really genuinely sad that, you know, she's saying it's bad. I can understand her point of view. It's like, hey, oh my gosh, you know, fact checkers are being removed. The problem with the fact checkers is that they're a human being and they have biases. Like, I would love if there was some genuine human being out there that would say what's absolutely true and what's absolutely not. Guess what? And the only person we need to listen to is that person because he's absolutely telling the truth. Absolutely all the time. But guess what? There's no human being out there like that. Human beings are flawed people. If we understand that, then we cannot really. The police is a great example. The military is a great example. The governments are great examples of these things that we cannot absolutely trust on what they do and what they say. I mean, there are good people behind here, but there's also scummy people. You know, it's the world. It's humans. What can you do except for the fact that you try your best to, I don't know, be good. Hope there's good in the government and the police and all that. But understand that no one's perfect, even good people are not perfect, and that there are bad people out there trying to take advantage of the system. So, this to me And this is how I see it. I do. I'm kind of curious as if you kind of see this. I see a group of people always wanting no responsibility. They tend to be people who want, oh, I want someone to fact check everything, so I don't have to. They don't say that I don't have to. They want people to fact check like this. So basically, if you hear someone wanting something and it has to be done by a government or other people, it's generally coming back to them saying that they don't want to do this. Oh, they're dumping fact checkers. I want someone to fact check because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to put in the effort. Oh, I want someone to um, uh, police the free speech because I can't stand certain words. So I want the government to tell us what we can and cannot say because some words are offensive, and I want to remove more words because I am offended by words. And then there are people out there who there's a whole bunch of list of things that when you start looking in a certain way, is that person trying to remove responsibility from themselves to have that responsibility on someone else or a government agency or just a group agency, whether it be official or something that you do in your group of friends, like, hey, as a group of friends we cannot say this word, or something along those lines. You get you get what I'm saying? Like, I will approve what we can and cannot do. It's like, okay, cool. I don't have to do anything because all I do is just listen to you, and what you say goes. So I'm just a follower. I have no responsibility into this. So be mindful of. I'm kind of curious. Just be mindful of this kind of things. Just. I'm not saying listen to it. I'm not saying don't disapprove. There are some things that has to happen this way. There are some things that don't need this because we need to be responsible ourselves. As human beings, we have to have some responsibility. We're not babies here. So obviously, like certain crimes, that needs to be said, you cannot do this, of course. But fact checking, not a crime to lie, unless you're under oath or something. But you hopefully understand my point. And this, to me, whenever I look at these things, I start thinking, it's like, okay, is it because the people who want this are responsible, or are they wanting that responsibility removed from them? And having someone fact check stuff for you, essentially, you want someone to spoon feed you what they think are facts. Like, here you go. Oh. Like, yes, I believe this. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh, yeah. But yeah, you're essentially whatever. So basically, when you see something on Facebook, it's like, oh well, it's got to be true because it's been fact checked. So then you're gonna just believe on things on Facebook. But even if fact checkers were there, and you're saying, well, I still don't believe in it, then what's the point of the fact checkers? You're gonna fact check it anyway. So sorry, I went on a rant with that because this is something I've noticed, something I've come to understand, I guess you could say. And I'm kind of curious as if there's anything in your life that you've seen this, even including yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, like there are certain things. I think there are certain things. I don't know. I have to double check my life to see. I wouldn't doubt there is, but is it reasonable? So there are certain things that yes, we do need the government for. I'm not opposed to the government, but at the same time, we cannot let the government grow out of control. We cannot have unlimited power, essentially.
Then we know the Elon Musk and Trump are going to really accelerate the climate change. Last time we talked about Gisele Pellico's case, which was very
Female body, chastity, and yeah, I have not seen that one. Okay.
heinous, and she finally won, so which is good. Uh, Also, I was going through some other news which were very, very disturbing. And so, my question to you, and if I go to the work side of aspect of life, I see the same thing in leaders. So, just to give you a concrete example, that I have seen so many so-called chief sustainability officers or people working in ESG, but when you see them personally, you do not see any relation in their own lifestyle with what, values they should actually be standing for. So you see a dissonance, right?
That's the point I was making earlier, where you have these fact checkers who sometimes don't even care. They don't even do their job. Well, a little bit. Or they have their own worldview, and whatever they believe, they'll fact check as true. So that's, again, the problem with having someone else take the responsibility instead of you, and then have some type of governments that will punish people essentially, if they don't believe in the same thing as you do. Again, it happens all the time. And it's just something that we as humans do. It's just a matter of how much power there is to that. Like your group of friends, if someone does something really bad and everyone agrees with that, you could end up shunning that person away, where they're no longer friends with your group of friends anymore, because what they did was disapproved by your friends. It's like, you know what? There's no forgiveness for that. Or maybe your group of friends say, "Hey, look, this is what you have to do. If you want to be back with the group again, this is what you have to do. You have to essentially, was it, repent for what you done, in a sense, like, whatever you did to that person, make it up to them, something like that, or whatever it may be, whatever the case may be."
Naked. So my question to you is, when you see, because you must be seeing a lot more than what I see, how do you maintain this balance, that center you talk about? Because I get into, I lose a lot of time, maybe in examination and seeing if I'm slipping, and it has been a real challenge. Like on my personal front, I'm single, so I, saved myself from that, at least harassment, if I can say that. And my relationships with family is also very leaned up and very clean. So on that side, I think I would say I've done fairly well, and I'm not troubled. But
Harassment, Jesus, woman. Dang, that's what you think about the opposite sex, or the same sex? I don't know which side you lean on that one, but good lord, whoever you're attracted to, that's what you think about them, as harassment? That's such a terrible outlook. My god.
when I go to a workplace, when I go interact with the community, or if I see globally, like all three dimensions, I see a lot of dissonance, and I feel sometimes like very much to myself then, and I lose a lot of time, lot of my energy.
Thinking about it?
So how do you practically, suggest some ways? Because when I see Jiddu Krishnamurti, I went through a lot of his videos, and
I miss him so much. God dang it. I used to react to his videos, but they keep getting blocked. I want to try to sneak a few in. Hopefully, they don't get blocked. Oh god, he. The thing that I love about his videos, the thing that sticks out the most about how he teaches things, he asks you the question. He asks you what you think and what you feel. It's very interesting. It's an empowering type of I don't know if it's teaching or what it is. Clearly, obviously he's kind of a teacher, but he doesn't. I don't believe he believes himself to be that. He's more of I think, again, I react to a few videos of his, but the idea that I get from him is the fact that, like, he's like moving through life is like, hey, come join me, not as a teacher but as a partner in this. Like, what are you doing, buddy? What do you think about this? It's wonderful, isn't it? Kind of like that, more than so you must meditate, and then you must do 6 minutes in the morning. More than like a doctor or prescriber, more of a, let's go explore the world, let's go wonder, let's go see what things bring, or how things are, kind of deal. It's almost like that with Judy Krishnamurti, as I call it. I never really said his first name, I don't believe. Anyways, it's what I got from the few videos that I did react to his. It's just, I do love the way he seems, he was so frail and is so passionate, and it's something that I genuinely love about him.
I saw that he was in the field, but I somehow he gives me a feeling that he was never touched by anything of this world. At least whenever I listen to him, this is something, along with the words, this is something he communicates to me. So I don't know how, what kind of a human mind, and how, like, how was that possible? How is that possible? I don't know.
Wow, that's weird. The way I read Krishnamurti is nah. If you're in the dirt, he's gonna be in the dirt with you, saying, "What is this? What does it feel like?" Asking you what you think, how you feel, getting your ideas and your thoughts. It's like he's there with you 100%. He's not some higher up being or something. He doesn't think of himself that way. He thinks of himself as just with you. That's the way I see him. Like he's a down to earth guy that you can just talk to, and he'll talk passionately about you and about. I don't know what he teaches specifically because I didn't react to too many videos, but just from the few things that I got from him, he wants you to essentially open up to discover what it is that he's teaching in a sense. He doesn't want to teach you. He wants you to discover his teachings. He wants you to teach yourself to learn what he's learned in a way. He guides you in a certain way, but not holding your hands and pulling you, but more along the lines like by talking to you, he's guiding you. Not telling you where to go, but somehow you kind of go in the right direction. That's the way I see him. And again, not something that's never been touched. Or no, man. He comes down here, he'll be with you 100%. You're in the mud, he's gonna be in the mud with you. You're up in the sky, he's gonna be in the sky with you. He's the person that will get down and dirty with you. He's that how do you say down to earth, as the saying goes, of a person.
Hmm. It might be different from how you are interpreting it. See, it is not that the way the world is, the ignorance, the stupidity, the suffering, the perverseness of it all.
I kind of see where he's going with the expectation part. She has a very high expectation of the world, and she's not seeing the reality of it.
It's not that that hurts or surprises you. What shocks you is that adverse thing come from people you think of as decent, respectable, and wise. It is not even for people, therefore, who are shocking you. It is the expectations that you hold of them. You think, you assume that you are entering a hall full of wise people. And then in that hall, if you are able to detect somehow two crackpots, that throws you off balance. Just two. And the room had 100 people. You entered the room and you were able to detect two lunatics there.
Oh, okay.
And that shocked you no end, right? I enter the same hall containing the same 100 people, and I see 100 lunatics, and I'm not shocked at all. because I never expected to see wise or sane people. I know in advance that the one who does not respect self-knowledge is compulsively going to be lunatic, irrespective of how intelligent or respectable he looks. I do not go by their looks, therefore, or the degree or the social position they hold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if I walk into that same room, I'm not gonna assume anyone's a lunatic or insane or anyone wise or not. They have to prove to me that they are these things. I accept them for what they are initially, and from there they go to whatever categories they fit in. If there's a lunatic there, then he'll definitely fit the lunatic category if he acts lunatically, or crazy, or smart, or wise. It's a neutral. You don't go. I generally speaking, I don't go into a room and assume anyone or assume anything. Try not to, but I wouldn't doubt that I do still. But again, I don't assume anyone to be wise or a lunatic at the very least. I can assume a lot of other things about certain people by the way they dress and look, but at the same time, I understand that I could be wrong and it could be very surprising. Like, oh my gosh, the way that dude dressed, I would have figured he would smell bad, but it actually smells like flowers. He smells like sunshine and rainbows. It's really weird. He looks so dirty, like he never showered for days, but he smells really good. Kind of like that, you have this assumption just because of the way someone looks, and it's no fault on anyone. Just do understand that you are making an assumption. I'm at fault for making assumptions too, and I try to remember it's like I'm making an assumption here. It could be a safe assumption for sure, but I don't act upon it though. I try not to, unless the assumption is correct, and then whatever act that I need to do, I need to move away from this guy. Oh my gosh.
There is only one yardstick, only one criterion that I have, and that is self-knowledge, Atmagyan.
Oh, that's a word I've never heard, Atmagyan. So again, it's something that I did believe or had an indication of Acharya here, that he's very much a Jnana Yoga follower, essentially identifying that which you are not. I am not this. I am not this, and to the point where you get to the very last bit, you find out the truth of what you really truly are. It's Jnana Yoga, Atmagyan. I'm assuming that's what the Gyan is there.
Does the fellow know who he is? And when I look at these 100 people in that hall, it takes me no time to see that they have zero respect for self-knowledge. I know I have 100 loonies in front of me, and that does not shock me, because I have zero expectations from them.
I mean, that's a good start. Zero expectations, honestly. Just because obviously you don't know anyone, so why should you have an expectation? I guess reputation leads to a type of expectation, so I can see that. But I think having zero expectations is a very good start, regardless of the person.
Your problem is you have still not been able to wrap your head around this simple fact. You still continue to hold very unrealistic expectations. Your expectation is, if the fellow is a chief sustainability officer, he ought to be at least a semi-decent fellow. I have no such delusions. In fact, the moment I see a CXO, I know that the top loony is here.
Jesus.
CLO, Chief So therefore I chill. I rarely get shocked. And I've been trying to somehow put this across since such a long time. I remember there was this little camp we organized. Where was it? Bombay or Pune? Some 6, 7, 8 years back. Darius here might have been a part of that. This fellow gets up and says, the world shocks me so much, and my own family has shocked me so much. And no, that was in Ahmedabad. Dig that out. So I replied, and that response was both published digitally and in print with the title जानवरों से उम्मीदें रखोगे तो दिल तो टूटेगा ही. जानवरों से उम्मीदें रखोगे तो दिल तो टूटेगा ही. If you hold expectations from beasts, then a heartbreak is all that you would get. I have spared myself the obligation to hold expectations from beasts. Therefore, I am not surprised when I see them behaving beastly. Your situation is different. The fellow is a trillionaire. This planet is going to have a trillionaire soon. You know that? The fellow is a whatever. Zillionaire. Therefore, he must be at least a little intelligent. I have no such compulsions. I do not find it necessary to respect or regard someone just because he is a prime minister or a top corp honcho or a charming celebrity or even a most revered religious leader. Since I do not anyway expect them to behave sanely, therefore, it does not come to me as a surprise when they behave insanely. Now you must look within and ask, why do I continue to harbor this expectation? Because it is the same yardstick you measure yourself with. How do you know you are good? You are good, right? That's what we think of ourselves, right? We are good. How do you know you are good? Because I am well educated, so I am good. No. If you think you are good because you are well educated, there is somebody always better educated than you. And then if you are good, he is better. That's your problem. You look at the others, you are bound to look at the others with the same eyes as you look at yourself. Oh, I'm going out for the Saturday party. Don't I look pretty? If you are good because you look pretty, then how will you not admire someone who looks prettier?
They do.
And then you will be shocked when the one who is outstandingly pretty behaves in the most brutal of ways. Then you will say, but this one was supposed to be good. Why was that one supposed to be good? Because that one is pretty. Who told you that being pretty is a proxy for being good? Because I think of myself as good on the basis of being pretty, the same basis you apply to others also. I'm satisfied. I feel satisfied.
That's actually really good. That's actually really good. You know, as he's explaining this, I'm thinking of the scenarios in my head, things that I've seen, and it's very true. You know, I was trying to think, have I had this expectation as well? I wouldn't doubt that I have. I just can't remember a specific moment of it. But I'm also wondering if I still have this kind of idea where if I see something in someone, therefore that person must be good. I don't know. But at the same, actually, yes. Now I remember. Yes, actually, I do remember. Um, a coworker looks like a very nice guy. You know, very fun, joking around, and all of a sudden blew up. Not literally, but just went kind of a little crazy. So I have been shocked because they seem nice, they act nice, they play around, they joke around with you, and so whenever you see this thing about them, you have this expectation that they are nice. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong most of the time. Most people who are nice are genuinely nice. And if you see them long enough, you'll see their true nature come out. Especially if you can, I don't know, see them behind the scenes, I guess you could say. You get to see what kind of person they are. If you live with them and you go to work with them, you should know how they are for the most part. Are there going to be exceptional people out there that will be able to fly under the radar? Yes, absolutely, but these are generally speaking the exception. You may hear them frequently, but that's only because they are the exception. Meaning that not very many stories of this kind of incident happen, so it's a worthwhile story to blast throughout the world sometimes. But yeah.
On having some amount of money. How much satisfied do I feel? Well, around 33.46%. That's the usual level of satisfaction. The dissatisfaction levels are twice as big. So 1 by 3. So if on having, let's say, whatever is your net worth, let's say, whatever, 10 lakh rupees. No, don't be disappointed. It's just an assumption. So on having 10 lakh rupees, if you feel that you are 1 by 3 satisfied, then you extend the same proportion to the other who has 10 crore rupees. And then you say that fellow must be 100 times more satisfied than the 1 by 3 times I am. So that makes him 33 times more satisfied than satisfaction. How much do you have? Just 10 lakh rupees. And you feel you are 1 by 3 satisfied and 2 by 3 dissatisfied, right? The fellow has 10 CR. So that fellow must be 33.33 times more satisfied than complete satisfaction itself. But you find that the fellow is terribly dissatisfied. Incorrigibly dissatisfied. Irreversibly dissatisfied. And then you're shocked. You're shocked. Now, why are you shocked?
I'll say this about that. He's talking about, like, obviously, I don't know the numbers precisely, so I don't know what I believe lakh and crow is equivalent to. I'm assuming lakhs at like thousands and crow maybe millions. It seems about right. Anyways, this is something when I was younger. I remember. I remember the rich people that lives in Hollywood. Like they're so rich, they make a lot of money. They have this $1 million houses with it's all fancy and everything. They have chauffeurs, private chefs, whatever they want, the chefs will cook it for them. Like delicious too. Better than store bought or maybe better than restaurant grade. I'm sure it would be better than restaurant grade because they have fancy kitchens in those fancy houses. But it's really surprising to me to find out that there are some people out there who are rich and are unhappy. It's really strange. They have no issues worrying about money. They can buy anything in the world they want, but yet they're still unhappy. So again, this goes back to learning about Advaita Vedanta for me as well. The sheer fact that even rich people, I'm not saying all of them, but there are people out there who are rich and are unhappy. I believe there's a famous rapper that says more money, more problems. It's really strange to say that. It's not always the case, of course, but it can be the case. And I can't remember if I read a statistic in the past about what are the happiest group of people. I think they tend to be the middle class, tends to be the happiest. I'm not sure. I can't remember that one for sure. So fact check me for sure on that one. Anyways.
Who told you to expect that fellow to be satisfied in the first place? You expected that because you apply that same measure to yourself. That billionaire must be a terribly happy man. Why do you assume that? You assume that because money gives happiness to you. Just that you do not realize the nature of that happiness. So you think you have a little bit of money, so you are a little bit somewhat happy. And that fellow has so much money, so he must be like infinitely happy. And then you see that the fellow is acting all mean and petty in the worst way possible. And you're shocked, but he has so much. Why is he still acting in ways that would destroy the planet? Why? The problem lies in your assumption. Why do you expect people to be good? Please tell me. Who told you that people are good by default? Why hold that expectation?
I wonder if I actually have I hold that expectation myself. I do believe majority of people are good, and good in the sense that they leave you alone, and that's genuinely a very low expectation. Again, I don't assume everyone is good. I assume majority of people are good, but I do not deny that there are bad people out there. And mind you, good merely means they just walk by you, not saying anything. That is good. That is a very low expectation, but it's an expectation I have with majority of people. It's very low, again, I will repeat that. But I guess having a very low expectations, it's I guess it could be sad to say that you won't be disappointed very much, but at the same time it's the truth.
People never disappoint me. Tell me why. Because I don't have expectations.
Oops.
Or at least I pretend that I don't have expectations. I try to, and I fail. The fact is, we are born brutes.
Yeah, I try not to have expectations, but I know the reality is that we always have somewhat expectations. The thing is, though, I try not to act upon it as well. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fail.
We are creatures of the wild. I was trying to figure out, in context of biodiversity depletion, mass extinction of species, I was trying to figure out which was the first species that humans caused to extinct. Can you guess? Huh? That's far too recent.
Yeah, Saber-tooth?
It was our own first cousins, the Neanderthals, 50,000 years back. That's who we are. Even when we had no knowledge, no organization, no resources, we still caused a very intelligent species to disappear. A species possibly more intelligent than us, the Neanderthals.
I don't think Neanderthals were considered to be smarter than the Homo sapiens. That's the reason why there's always, whenever, at least in the Western world, they say you're a Neanderthal, meaning that you're a caveman. I think they did it because they did the brain size. The Homo sapiens brains were bigger than the Neanderthals, but I don't think we wiped them out though. Um, I know. I say I know. I've heard. Like I have a coworker. And amazingly enough, we had this discussion. Has some part Neanderthal. They were. You could say. I mean, if you consider breeding them out in a sense where they're no longer purebred Neanderthals, maybe then okay. I guess if that's what you consider extinction, then I guess so. I mean, eventually, like we wiped out the Homo sapiens as well because we are considered to be Homo sapiens sapiens. I believe Homo sapiens was the previous. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure. Like we wiped out our previous namesake by evolving. So eventually, Homo sapiens sapiens, which is us, will be the next evolution down the line, which might be just Homo sapiens, and then Homo sapiens sapiens would be extinct out. So I don't know if you could qualify that to say, that we extinct them out. Again, it depends on your definition of it. And like I said, the DNA of the Neanderthals does exist still to today. It's because they interbreeded with Homo sapiens. We're compatible.
Obviously, much of that is in the realm of speculation. But reasonably, we are today certain that that's what we did. Why do you expect people to be good? We are not good. We are killers. We are violent people. We wipe entire species out.
But we save them too. Can't discount the bad. I mean, the good too. We do both. We're not completely good, and we're not completely bad. We're a wide range of human beings between good and bad.
In fact, it's pretty. Should I say innocent, or should I say just rich? It's pretty rich of someone to say, oh no, I met a really good fellow today. No fellow is really good. Only a Buddha or a Krishna can be good. Others are all turncoats. You will be deceived, disappointed, and you will suffer.
Wow, that's a bit of a strong statement. I mean, he's even calling himself out on this. I'm assuming so only a Krishna or a Buddha is good. Everyone else, including himself, is a turncoat. I've heard that definition before in the Western world. I forgot what it means, but it seems like it's I guess a person who will just turn against you, essentially. But I don't want to. I wouldn't want her outlook in the future to be bleak like that. You will find someone that's genuinely good. They're not perfect. That's the thing. I'll say if it's meaning perfect, I completely understand. I completely agree. But good, there are good people out there. They do more good than bad. Generally speaking, that still makes you good. You're not perfect, but you're still good. I hope that's what he means here, because that's a bit of a bleak outlook if you say there's just no one good out there and everyone's going to disappoint you. Good Lord, ouch.
Man, by his physical nature, by his biological constitution, is ugly, cruel, barbaric. Why will he not destroy the planet? Especially if you can win a presidential election if you promise to destroy the planet. We have been fed fancy stories. No? We are born good. And then the society corrupts us.
I wouldn't say we were even born good, per se. I'd say we were born neutral. I guess I always have a neutral stand on things. Everything's neutral until otherwise otherwise stated, or action until action states otherwise, I guess. I mean, I know as probably babies are probably very selfish, and selfish can be seen as bad. Because they want everything. Like you can see children playing in the sand and they want to have all the toys. They're selfish.
Some philosopher who probably never went to Vedant quipped, man is born free and everywhere he's in chains. Figure out who said that. No, we are not born free. We are born brutes. What's the definition of a brute? The one who is born in bondage.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna pause it right there. Woo! I mean, he's not wrong in terms of like as us human beings, we're a bit brutish, I suppose. Born in brutes meaning born in bondage. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in terms of Advaita Vedanta, obviously, um, we confuse ourselves with the ego, and therefore we are bondage, and therefore if bondage means brutes, then therefore we are brutes, at least according to his definition. I gotta remember, see, like that's what I'm hoping what he means is perfect, not good. Like people are good generally speaking, but no one's perfect. No one can really, and Buddha and Krishna are perfect. I assume here. Again, they're considered to be enlightened, so therefore I assume they have become perfect or are born perfect. I'm not sure. No, Buddha wasn't born perfect. He became perfect, I guess. Again, enlightened, and you can change the word perfect for enlightened. Krishna's enlightened, Buddha's enlightened. So instead of saying perfect, I don't know if they were perfect. Again, it all depends on how you define the words. So I'm hoping that's what he means here. The fact that I do believe people, generally speaking, are good. Are there bad people in the world? Absolutely. I'm not denying that. Do good people still do bad things sometimes? Yes, absolutely. No one's perfect. To expect people to be perfect, that's really an expectation outside of reality. Excuse me. I can't even do this recording perfectly. I'm hiccuping everywhere. Sorry. But yes, this is the thing that I think a lot of people do need to learn is to reel in their expectations a little bit, and look at reality for what it is. Have Yeah, I don't know what else to say. So again, I will reiterate. I hope he means whenever he says good, he means perfect in this sense, because I know there are certain words he sometimes changes up the meaning. So I think in one video he refers to the brain as essentially pure consciousness at one point, not the ego. He separated the ego and the brain, or the mind, I believe. Which was again something I had to pick up on. It's like, okay, he means in terms of how I understand Advaita Vedanta, the mind he means pure consciousness, and also he does have this other level of he has this consciousness, which is what I believe he means the ego, and then pure consciousness. So unless there's a different meaning somewhere else that I didn't pick up on, but as far as the video that I've seen, he does say consciousness and pure consciousness. So I can only assume pure consciousness being in terms of Advaita Vedanta consciousness, and even Swami Sarvapyananda and Swami Taratmananda sometimes say pure consciousness. It's just the consciousness and pure consciousness are one and the same. It's just that they want to make sure that you know that consciousness itself is pure and never tainted. So they always have that identifier as pure consciousness, even though consciousness itself is always pure. But in here, he does separate consciousness as something separate from pure consciousness, and I do believe in terms of at least that video, it was referring to ego, where we believe ourselves to be this consciousness ego, and it's not our true selves. Our true selves is pure consciousness. So again, hoping that that's what he means in this video, where no one, if you believe anyone to be perfect, then you're delusional, because no one's perfect. but there are good people in the world. I believe that. So just let me know. If you like my content, please. I'm gonna do this as the first part just because it's ran really, really long. Holy crap! I talked a lot in this one. Apparently, I can't help this. I'm sorry. Anyways, if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.